Well, each week, a group of insiders joins me to offer perspective on some of the week's top stories. This week, sounding off on Indiana's latest unemployment rate, the big venture capital boost for two tech startups in Indiana, and the Sunday sales bill presses forward. Our insiders this week, our education expert Robert Herzog. Also, Katz Corin Cunningham co-founding partner Norris Cunningham, and Beck Communications Group President Laura Beck. And welcome one and all to the Insiders.
Thank you.
We'll start off with news from the economy this week. The unemployment rate came out for December, dropped another 0.3% to 3.4%. Lowest level, Robert, since I think July of last year. Anything to read into those numbers?
Yeah, I mean, very good sign as always. It's always better to be lower, and we love that the ticks continue to go down. The key numbers there, though, continue to be where the real struggle and challenges is median income numbers for Indiana residents and Hoosiers, and we're still lagging not only behind our partners but really the rest of the country in that area. And it's a complex issue, digital divide, which some of the things we talked about before we went live lead into that. But overall positive momentum, still need to do everything that we can to continue to build those median income numbers, because that's what's really going to drive the overall health of the economy in each state.
Gary, I would add too that the location, if you will, or the distribution of those jobs is interesting. So most of the gains were in manufacturing, right? Sure. So manufacturing continues to drive our economy in Indiana. And perhaps that's a good thing, but I'd like to think that our new Commissioner of Workforce Development is going to be able to help as we try and move toward having a workforce that can speak to high-tech jobs in a much larger way than we have. I mean, it's great to have the manufacturing jobs, but if we're going to boost median income, it's going to come with high-tech jobs.
Yeah. Laura, your take on the numbers and turning that ship, because you talk about the training, it's a big ship to turn.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
It is, absolutely. And I think I sound like a broken record when I'm on here all the time, but a lot of it really begins with education. And we're doing quite a bit in terms of STEM. We're doing quite a bit, especially to get tech jobs. We're doing quite a bit along those ways, but it really does start very early on. And I think making sure that people have access, as we talk about that digital divide, I know we're going to talk about that maybe a little bit later today, but making sure that people can access the internet with their computer, not just with their smartphone. I think that's really going to make a difference, because unfortunately what we're seeing now is we've got a lot of people who are working harder than before and they're just not getting ahead.
Yep. Let's talk about that now, that broadband issue, certainly a huge issue, high-speed internet access. Certainly in some areas of the state it's great, in other areas it's not. And a report came out this week from the Indiana Broadband and Technology Association basically saying things are getting better, but still there's a ways to go.
Well, there is, and we mentioned a moment ago digital divide as an issue. We have haves and have-nots, if you will, with respect to broadband, and for the haves, that broadband report speaks to how much better things have gotten. Right, the fact that we now have over 90% with 10 megabytes per second access, which is really sort of the standard these days, and but we still have the have-nots. We have a lot of people that don't have any access to broadband, are still on dial-up, and that digital divide will continue to grow if we have counties where there is no access to broadband in the same way. Kids have to have the internet to do their homework. Right. Everybody has to have the internet to sign up for health care. So it's important to fix this.
How does it change? Because you got private sector, it's expensive to do it.
Yeah.
I think once we get that conversation so that it's equal to roads and bridges and the rest of infrastructure, when broadband and making that kind of investment does at a public policy perspective, then we'll have won, because then it's just another part of how are we going to fund our the interstate system. How are we going to build an interstate between Indianapolis and Evansville? When it becomes that level of importance, then we'll be there.
Yes.
Do you sense that at the State House?
Well, I think we've got to get there. I mean, I think we've got a governor who really appears to want to advance a technological platform where people are more educated. Students, I know he has initiatives for former offenders, but they have to have access for it. And so I think if we can make that leap, and I think the other part of the State House is you have to show what the returns are going to be. You can't just say this is great and it's going to work for everybody. You have to show them, but you do have legislators, I would assume, who are really impacted in these communities communities where they are still on dial-up. So it's a great way to really bring the message to them. Maybe Norris and I can work on that in our free time. We can all get on that.
Yes.
You talk about the tech economy in Indiana, and certainly here in central Indiana, a big boost from a venture capital standpoint this week. Springbuck, a startup company based here in Indianapolis, landing $20 million of venture capital. Xylo, another startup software company, a spin-out from High Alpha, over $9 million. So almost $30 million of VC coming into Indianapolis, two companies, is a positive sign.
It is, and we were talking about before we went live, still grossly underfunded in venture capital, so we need more of these deals, and we need more homegrown venture capital deals. But it is a great sign, and especially love to see one of the High Alpha groups spin out, becoming successful. Just a fabulous group of people that are involved with that have done a great job for Indianapolis. So yes, positive, need more and more and more, though.
The money will go, though, where there are good ideas, right?
Yep.
Where there are great ideas. And the thing for Springbook and both for Xylo is that they have great ideas and great platforms. And so we need more think tanks.
Yep.
We need more opportunity to develop those really good ideas. And I believe the money will flow from there.
Yeah, good ideas and talent, as
Yes,
we were
talent,
talking
right.
about, to be
Absolutely.
sure.
Yes.
Back to the State House, another issue that continues to get a lot of attention is Sunday alcohol sales and the expanded cold beer sales. That didn't fare so well, certainly. But Laura, as you look at this, it appears as though the Sunday that Sunday sales seems to be on a track for passage.
Yeah,
Agree,
and
disagree?
I agree. I'm hopeful. I remain cautiously optimistic. I think that every year we come back to this and we talk about it and we talk about it some more and we talk about it some more. And what is always disappointing to me, though, is that the will of the people clearly want this, but there's always that haggling over those special interests.
Yeah.
And it's really unfortunate because we are really, really behind in a lot of different ways. And I know we were talking about this earlier, but I just don't understand why we keep having to have the same discussion every single year.
And
Let's just get it done.
As much, sorry about
No,
that.
you're
As
fine.
much as we get, this national publicity from a food perspective and sports, it's things like this that still kind of keep us in the light of what's Indiana doing? Why you can't get by these issues? So it seems small, and yes, hopefully we will get there this year. But let's just progress past these issues that are 100 years old.
Yep. At one time, Indianapolis had an outdated old airport. Now that's changed. Certainly, I think 10 years plus now, maybe, with the quote-unquote new airport. Record numbers again for 2017.
I mean, everybody knows it's a fabulous airport.
Right.
I mean, going through there is a joy. It's still a nice size. The number of direct flights is still the key, something I know that's near and dear to your heart, Gary. Been talking about for years and years.
Absolutely.
The more of those that we get is going to help everybody out, and that has increased just even within the last couple of months. So, fabulous place to be.
I travel a lot. I would rather take one plane than two.
Right.
But as important as that is to me, my clients coming in don't want to have to take two planes to get here. And so the more direct flights we can add, we're going to continue to grow those numbers.
Only have 30 seconds. We'll give you the last word. Norris, Colts coaching search for a head coach. Josh McDaniels, the offensive coordinator with the Patriots, seems to be the guy. Is he the guy?
I think he's the guy. I think that he has learned from the Denver failure, I guess you can call it that. I think he's learned from that. I think there's an opportunity for some growth. I think that he is the right person to hopefully take Andrew Luck to the next level. He's great with quarterbacks, and quite frankly, that's the franchise.
All right. Norris Cunningham, Laura Beck, Robert Herzog. Thanks very much. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Thank you.